How will passengers interact with the car of the future? And what's going to be more important, the digital experience or the driving performance? Here on the IAA Mobility Visionary Club, we are digging into the nitty-gritty of HMI. And here to help me, I have a great panel of experts. I would introduce you, but I think it's more fun to let you introduce yourselves and answer a question for us while you introduce yourself. What do you think is going to influence HMI the most in the next decade? Pick one thing. Ulrich, let's start with you.
Yes, hello. Yeah, my name is Ulrich Lüders. I'm working at Continental Automotive Technologies in the business area user experience, and I'm responsible for strategy and portfolio. Yeah, what's going to drive the HMI the next? I would say it's intuitive and immersive. So intuitive means it has to be easier for the user to interact, and immersive means new experience. We'll come to it.
Okay, I know our next guest has a lot to say about immersive, but Ulrich, for now, thank you very much. Niels, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Niels. I'm CEO and co-founder of HoloRide, and I think the next decade will be dominated by the metaverse getting into cars and cars into the metaverse. We call this the motorverse.
Is that what's on your shirt?
Exactly.
Nice little branding plug there. All right, very good. Welcome, Niels. Good to have you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Fabian, tell us about you, and what do you think is going to influence HMI the most in the next decade?
Yeah, hello. My name is Fabian. I'm one of the founders of Fourscreen and CEO. And I think what is influencing the most is driver interaction needs someone to interact with. And I'm convinced that this will be the ecosystem around the car, bringing third-party and content of physical stores, etc., to the driver at one fingertip.
Okay, so a lot of things going on in the future. I'm just looking back on my own experience as a driver and how much cars have changed in the last 10 years. And your car can just do so much more than it could. Even when I learned to drive, I just feel like, gosh, if I had had these resources at my fingertips, maybe I wouldn't have failed the test the first time. So the first question to get us started, how are passengers going to interact with the car of the future? And walk us through the nitty-gritty here. What is it going to be like from the moment you open the door till the moment you get out? Paint us a picture.
Yeah, I think it's a seamless experience. That's an expectation. So you open the door seamless, and the seamless transaction from your smartphone to the car on the one hand side. On the other hand side, if you really like interaction of the car, I think it will be still multimodal. Yeah, so it will be a mix of easy functions, touch buttons, for example. Yeah, but it will be, let's say, for sure, more displays, more experiences, new experiences. For example, like augmented reality or XR experiences comes up, which makes it more intuitive to interact with the car.
Does anyone have a different vision?
Yeah, I think what you need in the end is what do you display there? Yeah, so I think the means of interaction will develop a lot and will be more fluent, more seamless. But you also stop by at businesses, for example, or you're driving somewhere and you need a parking space or you need a charging station, etc. And to connect those infrastructure components, local businesses, etc., your surroundings where you physically stop by, into the experience is one of the key factors to have it really seamless.
I strongly believe that cars will turn into experience spheres and experience devices. And I think one of the major roles will play the fact that instead of squeezing content from your smartphone or your personal devices into the center screens of the car, we'll see a different direction that will be added so that you expand and extend the car to the personal devices of the passengers so that you really create ecosystems that are valuable inside and outside the car.
Yeah.
How does that integration look like between an external device and the car? How does that work?
I think first and foremost, you need a very good and stable data connection. So we use for our experiences real-time car data like acceleration, braking, steering, wheel ticks, GPS position, navigation route, and take this data in real time and synchronize it with the content being displayed on a personal device like a VR glass. This will be our first application. And I think this real-time data is essential to create these very lively and very engaging and immersive experiences. And we use this data only locally. So this is very important that the connection can also be a very private connection only inside the car.
Okay.
Yeah, I would see 4 parts also. Coming back to your comment, yeah, I think on the one hand side, it's the devices in the car, yeah, which will be much more bigger, or let's say like co-driver displays, which will enable like experiences not going with a smartphone into the car. It's on the other hand side, the high-performance computer having the performance to run all this. Then you have the software behind, yeah, to make your experience in the car, and for sure the connectivity to the outside. That you say, okay, what what do I stream into the car? What is the surrounding of the car to make it a whole complete experience?
Yeah. And in terms of integration, also you mentioned car data. Yeah? Car data is something that is very unique for the car itself. So for mobility, the car knows what is the current state of the car, the velocity, whether it needs a brake or service, the full range of the sensors that are way beyond the technology of a smartphone can be leveraged for even better user experiences. So understanding the situation the driver currently is in is a key for better user interaction inside the car, fitting the content to this situation.
So let me ask you this. What's the biggest challenge? Like, why don't we already have this? Why doesn't this already exist? It sounds great. I want to watch a movie in the backseat of my car on VR goggles. Why am I not already doing that?
You can do it in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Another plug. Good. But seriously, like, why doesn't it exist? What are the hurdles?
Yeah, I think the technology comes together now. We are just in the change. In the car industry, you always have these cycles, I would say, and now most cars are coming now with devices in the car, with the screens in the car. They are now to launch, and I would see now in the next years really happening. On the other hand side, you see experiences we want to enable, or new experiences we want to enable. Yeah, for sure, there's a lot of impact from the consumer industry. Yeah, but this is all on the move, and new things will happen in the decade now.
I think this is an important point. The consumer electronics industry moves way faster than the car industry can. Yeah. And from my perspective, we are still stuck in the smartphone age with cars, because currently it's all about larger screens, more screens. It's all very screen-based. But if you look at the next iteration of the internet, it will be a spatial web. And metaverse is nothing else than a very nice consumer-friendly term for the spatial web. That means detaching from screens and moving into the space. And I think the auto industry needs to understand that they have everything at hand to even dominate this industry. Because, I mean, you're sitting in a vehicle that moves through space. If you're talking about entertainment and stories, usually a story is about a journey. In a car, you're on a journey. So I think you have everything you need to really turn cars into metaverse devices. And I think this is more a mental thing that still needs to process.
Is it fair to say the holdup is more on the OEM side than...
It's hard to say. I mean, they have very long product life cycles. There are so many things like testing, safety, and security that play a role. But I think what you could see in the last years, they opened up more for third-party applications. And I think this openness will accelerate the development I just described.
Okay. Yeah. You're working on that with Fourscreen. How has the experience been working with an OEM and trying to make this technology a reality in our cars?
Yeah, as you just said, you're sitting in the device. You as a human needs to be secure, needs to be safe, needs to be very on point. You can't scroll around a lot while driving, while you're bound into the driving task. And I think the key is to really make it very simple and accessible in this situation. And for us, of course, that is one of the challenges, to integrate seamlessly into an existing product. So the car has a lot of history and legacy at all. And as Niels just said, long cycles as well. But we made it very fast to integrate. We are live as a young company. And working with almost all OEMs currently on integrations and breaking records as we speak. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask a challenger question here.
Sure.
You're saying you can't be in your car scrolling on your phone, but like cars are becoming more and more autonomous. Soon they're going to be fully autonomous. We all hope that. We keep talking about that on the Mobility Club. If cars become autonomous, why do I need that? I can just look at my phone while the car drives me.
That's a very good point. First and foremost, many people do get motion sick when traveling in cars and consuming visual content. Approximately 1/3 of all people get severe motion sickness in cars. This is due to the fact, we tried the solution yesterday. So, but if your eyes are being fixed on a screen and your body feels the motion of the car, like acceleration and braking, then it doesn't match. And your brain sees or feels the mismatch, and then a lot of people do get motion sick. With our solution, we take the real-time data and synchronize it with the content being displayed, and by this, everything is in sync. What you see, what you feel is in sync. And by this, we reduce motion sickness. We cannot cure it. This is one aspect. The second aspect is the media format. If you show traditional media formats in cars, there are better places to watch a movie and play games. However, if you turn the car into an entertainment device and make use of the fact that it's moving through the world, then it's a different story. And this is what we're building with HoloRide. And same for us, we are live in a few weeks, so people can try it in the latest Audi cars.
And to add, imagine the car as a living space. So having a lot of perfect arranged sound systems. You have cameras in there, of course, understanding, as said, the situation, as said, the movement, etc. And I think that is, in the end, one of the key factors, that you expand into some sort of additional living space there, and have a real cozy feeling, comfortable, easy, and you feel at home there while driving and while you're driving to your destination.
Big picture, what's going to change the most in the next, let's say the next 5 to 7 years? Paint me a picture, and I'll let each of you go around, and then we'll move into part 2.
Yeah, I would still say next 5 to 10 years is still not so fully autonomous vehicle. Yeah, it's partly autonomous, so therefore it's still a separation maybe between driver and passenger. So there will be a lot of things coming up for passenger entertainment. Driver is more the concentration, not to distract. Yeah, and then afterwards we will stepwise see a change to autonomous and more usage of even including the driver.
From my perspective, the car industry has very much focused on car buyers and drivers, and has neglected over the past decade the passenger. And in the next few years, we'll see a massive focus of the industry on passengers, on use cases, the way vehicles are designed. It's all about the experience, and I think this will pretty much dominate the next few years, what we'll see.
Okay. Fabian, what's your view on the next 5 to 7 years?
Yeah, first of all, the interaction in the car will change with all those technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc., bigger displays, voice, etc. And then second, the interaction and the closure or integration of the surroundings into the car will get more and more relevant, and a lot of services on this base of good interaction will be released and will be possible, such as, for example, restaurants sponsoring the charge while you're eating there.
All right, well, the future looks bright. Coming up on part 2 of our discussion here on the IAA Mobility Visionary Club, I am going to be holding these guys' feet to the fire and challenging some of the statements that they've just made. I hope you'll join us for part 2 of our discussion on HMI. That's coming up. For now, thanks for joining us, and I will see you soon.